Katie's trying to speak.
Ready?
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Blackrock Center for the Arts. My name is Katie Hecklinger. I'm the very proud CEO here at Blackrock Center. If you are new to the space, we are the cultural, creative, and civic center of Germantown and Upper Montgomery County. I also like to call it the gateway to the Ag Reserve, the most diverse unincorporated city in the country. So there's so much to brag about, but tonight we have our civic hat on as we get to know these candidates. It's a big year in Montgomery County. So I thank you for being here. This is part of the process. I personally want to invite you back for jazz. We've got jazz this week. And next, we've got Montgomery County's Green Fest on Saturday. Please, rain, rain, go away. Come back another day. The Harriet Tubman statue on its Freedom Walk 2026 is going to be making an appearance here. And so you are invited back. And with that, we're going to get this party started with the president and CEO. No, first we're going to start with the chamber chair, Steve Barber. And I'm nervous about my acronyms. The GGUC chair. No, GG, how many? He'll say it. He'll say it. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. I am Steve Barber, the board chair for the newly rebranded Gaithersburg Germantown and Upcounty Chamber. We are the business voice for Gaithersburg, Germantown, Clarksburg, and Damascus. Welcome to the second of our two 2026 primary candidate forums. And we'd like to thank Blackrock Center for the Arts and CEO Katie Hecklinger for partnering with us to host this event in the heart of Germantown. The Chamber is committed to ensuring our Upcounty members are heard in the legislative process. Decisions on land use, taxes, and zoning impact all of us. And you can find our 2026 legislative agenda at the info table by the doors. Upcounty needs are unique, and they are often left behind by our county decision makers. And to ensure our voices are represented, we must stay engaged and vote. If you have a question for the candidates, please write it down on the index card provided to you, including your name and city you reside in. Any card submitted without your name and city you reside in will not be read. Heather will be walking around collecting them. Just raise your hand. Now, please allow me to introduce, now it's our chamber president and CEO, Paula Ross, who will serve as the moderator for our first group of questions.
Okay. All right, thank you, Steve. Our Chamber of Commerce serves Gaithersburg, Germantown, Clarksburg, and Damascus. This forum was planned by our Economic Development and Legislative Affairs, EDLA, committee. In addition to our board chair, I'd like to thank our vice chairs for economic development for their time and energy in planning this forum. Sharon Anthony from Montgomery College and Dave Benora from the universities at Shady Grove. Steve, Sharon, and Dave will be our timekeepers for the evening as well. For this forum, we have invited candidates who seek the position of county executive. I'd like to welcome the candidates to the stage. Mithun Banerjee, Andrew Friedson, Evan Glass, Peter James, Shelley Skolnick, and Esther Wells. And we did just receive word from Will Jawanda that he wanted to be here but has had a family emergency and likely will not make that.
Can I have his water?
You may have his water. I have extra if anybody needs more.
Well, I would do it.
You can have his water. Candidates. Tonight's forum is being recorded and may be available on the Chamber's YouTube page or other social media pages. The timekeepers in the front row will give you notice when you have 10 seconds left to respond, and you will be cut off at the time limit by a noisemaker. It's a cowbell. We have a cowbell. Yes, that will be your time. Please do not go over time. There are many of you on this stage, and we want to give every candidate a fair opportunity to respond to questions. Audience, please keep it professional. Please silence your phones. Please refrain from shouting from the audience tonight to give every candidate an equal opportunity to answer each question without interruption. Audience members who engage in repeated outbursts will be asked to leave. If you have a question for the candidates, please write it on the index card provided to you. If you need more index cards, they are right outside the theater with pens. Please include your name and your geographic area of residence and raise it for one of our board members to collect. We also will collect cards after the first round of questions, and please note that anonymous questions will not be read. Each of the candidates will now have 60 seconds to introduce themselves to our audience today. We will start with Mr. Banerjee and work our way down.
Good evening. Thank you, host. Thank you for inviting me. We appreciate that and inviting all of us. My name is Mithun Banerjee. I was born in India. I came to this country almost quarter to a century, almost 25 years back, with just 2 suitcases and my lot of dreams. And see, today I'm running for county executive of Montgomery County. That's the wonderful opportunity we have in this American dream, we call that as. So why I am running? Because I was just a private citizen managing my own stuff, but I was so tired of the government keep on increasing taxes and business as a small business owner having so many problems. So that's why I said, Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. So I said, let's do it. Let's change it. So I am running so that I cannot, in my good conscience, increase any taxes to normal people. Millionaire should pay more, not common people who are making less than $1 million. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Friedson.
Good evening. It is so great to be here. I'm Andrew Friedson. I am thrilled to be here in one of my favorite places with some of my favorite people. I'm Andrew Friedson. I've been on the council for 2 terms. I have been a champion for the business community, have worked closely with your chamber and with the broader business community to deliver results, to fight back against tax increases, to make our county more affordable and more competitive, to lead the effort for economic development and for housing, and to make it easier, cheaper, and faster for us to be able to invest in Montgomery County. We face some real serious issues. Our economy is not growing, and we need a county executive with a proven track record of working with the business community, valuing the business community, and actually having the trust to build the type of private sector investment that we're going to need to support the community that we desperately want. Heather and I were talking earlier, I'm not sure if it's GGUC now or GUC, but we're gonna work on that. But I look forward to working with you and being a champion for the Upcounty and for our business community. Look forward to the questions today.
Thank you. Mr. Glass, and Mr. Glass, before you get started, I just want to reiterate, we are not the GGUC. That is GUC. And we will refer to us as the Gaithersburg Germantown Upcounty Chamber or the Upcounty Chamber. Mr. Glass.
Well, thank you for hosting. Thank you to BlackRock for being the center of cultural opportunity here in Germantown. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Evan Glass. I've been an at-large member of the council for the last 2 terms, and it has been an honor serving you. I know we're going to talk about policy tonight, but I just want to share a little bit more about myself. I'm originally from New York, Long Island, and came down to the Washington, D.C. area to attend American University, being the first in my family to go to college. I got a degree in journalism, worked at CNN for 12 years covering Congress, and at the same time moved to downtown Silver Spring and wanted to help make my neighborhood safer, make the roads safer, make the community safer, work with our developers as they were building to ensure that we had a community that we all wanted to live in. And it's been an honor serving you over the last 2 terms, and I look forward to sharing with you my vision for Montgomery County over the course of the evening.
Thank you. Mr. James.
I didn't know I was going to a speed dating event, but here goes. I moved to the county when I was 4, 1959. Went out to California and cut my teeth. I don't know if you saw The Graduate. He was at a cocktail party, told Dustin Hoffman plastics. Well, my dad told me microprocessors. So I spent 20 years out learning my trade in Silicon Valley. At 20 years old, I was running Renaissance Consulting, and we did Intel's cost evaluation system. They went from flat from 74 to 75. The next year, they did, their sales went up 30%, and 3 years up 90%. So I have what it takes to really turn this county around. You know, you do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, and it's considered insanity. And so I got to figure out how I'm going to convince a bunch of you crazy people to elect me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Skolnick.
Thank you and good evening. We were in East County the other day, yesterday, and some people were represented from the audience saying that they weren't being heard in Rockville in the county government. And that's probably in Upcounty too, that oftentimes you're not heard by the county government. What I propose is that we change the county council to be more representative of the people of the county. Right now we have 7 districts, each one supposedly representing 150,000 people, 4 at large, supposedly representing 1 million people. What I would push as county executive is that we change the charter so we have 11 districts, so that each member of the county council represents 100,000 people. So then you have members of the county council actually representing different parts of the county, informing the county executive, who also represents 1 million people. Time is up.
Thank you, Ms. Wells.
Hi, yes, good evening, and my name is Esther Wells, and I am a certified public accountant in the state of Maryland for over 15 years with a master's in taxation. Currently, I lead the state indirect tax department of a multi-billion-dollar enterprise of companies based out of Washington, D.C., with a proven track record of monetizing multi-million-dollar savings opportunities. I started my career in public accounting at Ernst & Young, and I have been able to work with multinational corporations, again, helping stakeholders and stockholders maximize their returns on investment. And that's the type of experience I will bring to this role. My priorities is simple: affordability and accountability. Currently, we're facing an affordability crisis because it has become too expensive to live here. And so what I am proposing is, from an accountability standpoint, is we will audit, a forensic audit of our almost $8 billion budget to ensure that we're auditing our contracts, our grants, all of our departments to find waste or mismanagement. Also, from an affordability standpoint, I will reverse the property tax hikes that has happened over the years. I will also reduce 50% of the annual assessment cap, and I will reduce our fuel energy tax. I will ensure that corporations are welcome
Ms.
here.
Wells.
Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. This first section of questions was developed by the Chamber's Economic Development and Legislative Affairs Committee. You will have 60 seconds to respond, and if you are named in another candidate's response, you will be given a 30-second rebuttal after all of the 60-second responses are complete. If you are named by more than one fellow candidate, you will receive only one 30-second rebuttal. Please keep your responses clean and respectful. This section will take us just to after 7 p.m. So, our legislative agenda questions. Our first question, we will start with Mr. Friedson and work our way down, and then we will start with Mr. Glass on the next question, and so forth. Okay. Economic growth and taxes. Our county budget is outpacing growth of our population and growth of our business economy. What concrete steps will you take to invite investment to Montgomery County for both small and large businesses to grow the economy, allowing us to maintain the level of services in our county budget? Where does the Upcounty fit into your plans?
Well, the Upcounty is the fastest growing area in the county, so it has to be central to any economic development and growth strategy, and it will be if and when I'm county executive with your support. Ultimately, we can't tax our way out of these issues, and that has been the strategy: a tax increase to solve every problem virtually every year. In 2020, 2023, 2025, 2026. I'm the only person running who has consistently pushed back and fought back against that. We can't make Montgomery County more affordable by making it more expensive. We have to make it easier, cheaper, and faster to invest in Montgomery County, whether you're a homeowner or someone who wants to rent here, or whether you're a business. It takes too long. That's why I champion Accelerate MoCo, which reduced the time it takes to build things here, biohealth facilities, affordable housing, and others by more than 75%. We can expand that effort across the board, streamline our permitting process, and we can have a county executive who actually cares about and is focused on business and wants to work with you, partner with you to grow our economy together. We need to do it. It's the only way we're going to solve our challenges.
Thank you, Mr. Friedson. Mr. Glass.
Well,
Is this on? Yeah. Germantown is the center of the future of Montgomery County, and we just passed the Germantown Sector Plan, which encompasses a lot of future economic growth. I'm excited about it. I know your district council member is excited about it as well. And that is only the first step. Beyond that, the county executive is the leader, is the figurehead, is the individual who is going to be meeting and pitching and selling Montgomery County. I think it's fair to say that we have not had the best salesperson over the last number of years, but we got to get a good salesperson because Montgomery County is worth selling. And it is our people, it is our schools, it is our parks. It is also our permitting that we need to improve. When I'm county executive, on day one, I'm going to hire a director of permitting services that's going to start going through years and decades of rules and regulations that were put in place with very good intention, but don't meet the moment that we're in. And once we start doing better, improving, then we'll be able to do better in selling.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. Mr. James.
Wow. Well, I got a different mindset than all these guys. We've got in Montgomery County and all the East Coast a scarcity mindset. I cut my teeth out in Silicon Valley. Out there, if you didn't have something that disrupted an industry, nobody wanted to talk to you. Back here in Montgomery County, if you want to disrupt an industry, nobody wants to talk to you. It's completely different. But I'm going to come make the county prosperous. And adopting Michael Schumann's plan, he used to live in Silver Spring. He writes these buy local books. I'm going to spend all the money not attracting businesses in, but helping businesses that are here. I run a small business out of Gaithersburg, and I know how to get technology to really prosper. I've worked for over 200 Fortune 500 and fast-growing Inc. 100 companies, and I know how to make things faster, better, cheaper. So I'm going to give you a transportation system that's twice as fast as cars, and you're going to get 3 times as many people within 15 minutes of your business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Skolnick.
Okay. All the candidates this year seem to be coming out against tax increases. But we have a hidden tax increase in our property tax. As you know, the property tax is based upon the assessed value and the property tax rate. And if you look at the assessments, the tax assessments, value of your property, they usually go up each year during a 3-year cycle. So unless we reduce our property tax rate, which I haven't heard any of them suggest, and I am proposing, you automatically will increase taxes for all the owners of property, businesses and residents. Okay? So that's something that I wish you would challenge every candidate for every office. What is their position on reducing the property tax rate in Montgomery County?
Thank you, Ms. Wells.
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. And one of the things that I have picked up on when we've had the econ development meetings and we've heard from business leaders, we've heard from the chambers, is we need to take a holistic approach. So some of the things I would look at is to weaken rent control, right? So if employers are looking to locate somewhere, their employees need somewhere to live. And so we need to make housing more affordable, which means we need to reduce taxes, as Shelley has mentioned. We also need to ensure that our schools, families are going to move here. Our schools need to have better performance. So we need to ensure that when we're funding our schools, we're not just funding the inputs, we're looking at the outputs. We need to improve the proficiency, the literacy rates. Right now we have a 5-year low in high school graduations. So we need to take a holistic approach of first building the infrastructure, and then the businesses will know when they do their evaluation and their studies of various places where they will come. And then also I will revisit conversations we've had with other employers and businesses that moved to Nova, right? Have them revisit that. A lot of taxes now are coming to Virginia. Businesses are now looking for where they can have a new headquarters. I think we can re-engage those conversations and bring them back here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. Mr. Banerjee.
I'm a small business owner, and I am tired of Montgomery County. They are not at all friendly to us. It's not my statement. Controller of Maryland said, people are leaving Maryland. Same thing happening for Montgomery County. We need to fix this, and we need to fix this now. Rent increases keep on doing that. Last 7 years, government expenditure went up 44%. Last 7 to 8 years, our property tax got up 20 to 39% with tax increases plus assessment value hike. It's unaffordable. So what we need to do is that we need to cut red tape for small businesses, create a business-friendly environment. And as a businessman, I want to create a marketplace in Montgomery County website. So we vet the businesses, small businesses, on their own voluntary terms so that they can come and list them and go ahead and we promote them with the email blast. See who is going to increase the tax? Mr. Javando. He doesn't get 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. All right, this next question, we will start with Mr. Glass. In one sentence, what is the biggest mistake the current executive has made regarding the county's economic growth?
Taxes, taxes, fees, fees, taxes, taxes, taxes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Glass. Mr. James.
Well, I went to the county executive with, I asked for a PO for 100,000 free electric vehicles, and he said no. And I had a $3 billion, did I exceed my time limit? I had a $3
You get the 60
billion
seconds.
charity that was gonna back it. So,
Thank you, Mr. James. Mr. Skolnick.
I think the county executive's promotion of bus rapid transit, BRT, I think that's inefficient and ineffective.
Thank you, Mr. Skolnick. Ms. Wells.
I think lack of economic development and lack of expanding private sector.
Thank you, Ms. Wells.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. In one sentence, what is the biggest mistake the current executive has made regarding the county's economic growth?
One sentence, I'll take 60 seconds to make that whole sentence. I'm not gonna put any stop or full stop. Because last 2-3 years, I've been trying to meet Mark Eldridge, the current county executive. He doesn't have time for me, but I'm paying his salary as a taxpayer. As well as, this is what he's doing. Keep on increasing taxes, and Mr. Javando is his best friend in it. So we need to stop this. This is from 2025. Right now, Javando said no tax increases. You know why? Because I am criticizing them each and every event. No more tax increases because I cannot afford one with the high utility bills. This is really very, very hard for us to sustain in Montgomery County. As a private citizen, I am unable to pay all the bills with high utility bills. So that's why we want Mr. Mark Eldridge to step down or county to ask him to step down. This is too much of tax on normal people.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Mr. Friedson.
He's vilified businesses rather than valuing them. He's made it more expensive rather than cheaper, easier to invest in Montgomery County. And he has vetoed a number of economic development strategies that we have put forward and that I have championed that would have made it easier to invest in Montgomery County over time. If I have a few seconds in my 60 seconds, I just want to clarify, the council hasn't passed the Germantown plan, we passed the Clarksburg plan. I was proud to champion and shepherd that through as chair of the Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee with your district council member who's standing in the back, Marilyn Balcom. I think there's a ton of opportunity in Clarksburg. I'm really excited about that plan. We'll be working on the Germantown plan, but it ultimately will likely be the next council and the next county executive who are going to have to work on pushing that through and then ultimately implementing it. The county executive is going to have to implement both of those plans, and I look forward to your support in doing so.
Thank you, Mr. Friedson. Next question. We will start with Mr. James on this question. If elected as county executive, would you support county budget increases and consequential tax increases over the standard cost of living, and why?
well, I'll just take one of those. I'll support increases, but I'm the only candidate that's going to eliminate taxes. In the county, we sell liquor and lose money. We sell green fees at the golf course and break even. And I don't know how we're doing with the airport. But what I will do is rewrite all the software that we get from Oracle and Microsoft and take all the AI and all the spying out of it and then sell that. Like right now, Oracle last year made $57 billion. I'm gonna take 20% of their business and generate, that's at a 42% profit margin. So I'm gonna pay I'm gonna earn that $8 million we're spending on the current budget. If you live in Qatar, you don't pay any taxes and you get free health care. I'm gonna throw in free child care. So I'm the only one that has a track record of producing tens and hundreds of billions of dollars for these Fortune 500 companies, and the county can do the same thing.
Thank you, Mr. James. Mr. Skolnick.
I would not increase the budget by the CPI. In fact, I'd freeze the budget. If you look in the news today, many companies, large organizations like the county government, have reduced their labor costs through AI, artificial intelligence. They are investing hundreds of billions of dollars in AI. It is coming, it is here. But it's not here if you keep on looking at a budget that says, okay, every year we have to increase by the CPI or some other magic number. I would freeze it. I believe that we can easily stay within the current budget, increase services through AI with the proper leadership. Again, it's nothing new, it's here, and I would implement it.
Thank you, Ms. Wells.
Yes, I agree with Shelley, so to be additive, Mr. Skolnick, to be additive, I will first start with zero-based budgeting. To his point, it is important, it hasn't been done in a while. Positions need to be evaluated. There has been positions that are funded that have been vacant for years. We need to cut those positions. There have been positions that we've created over the years that we need to understand, is that truly the position that we need? I will weaken rent control, so therefore we will repurpose a lot of employees into departments where they are most needed. Also, I will expand the tax base so that we increase revenue from our private sector, which will provide for more revenues. But a lot of work can be done before we even come back to taxpayers for more taxes, and I absolutely am against raising your taxes. My goal is to reduce your taxes, again, to reduce the burden on families so that we free you up to do what you need to do with your funds. Lastly, I will say that there's an estimated 20% of reduction that we can do in automation, similar to what Mr. Skolnick mentioned, to still provide same level of service.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. Mr. Banerjee.
Thank you for the question. So what I am proposing is that no more tax increases for common people. People who are making more than $1 million a year, businesses making profit more than $1 million a year, they can contribute more for any increase of the budget. I will only support increment of the budget based on the inflation rate. And we have to optimize the current budget to remove fraud and abuse. And also, I want to stop on my very first day all payments to non-government organization, so that way we will have a public events and they should come and say what exactly they are doing, and public should decide which NGO should get funding, and based on full transparency and oversight. And also, I wanted to support free universal childcare, free universal pre-K by increasing taxes on millionaires and billionaires, and stop illegal deportation without due process, and freeze property tax for property worth less than $1 million. Thank you, with balanced budget.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Mr. Friedson.
Yeah, we can't afford to run out the bill and ask you to pay for it. And that's ultimately what has happened. County government has grown by 44% over the last 8 years, almost a 50% increase. I'm committed to a government that lives within its means. That means I want us to grow the amount of money we have to invest in schools, in transportation infrastructure, and all of the things that are critical to economic growth. But we should only be growing that at the level that we're growing the economy. And if we're not growing the economy, then we're not able to have the support that we need, because ultimately what's happening is that we're losing businesses and we're losing middle-income families. We've lost 26,000 middle-income families in Montgomery County over the last 15 years because we've made it unaffordable to live here, and we made it unhospitable to invest here for our businesses. That has to change, and as county executive, I will work together with you to make sure that it does.
Thank you, Mr. Glass.
The question was the budget?
Yes, I can repeat it if you
Please
want.
do.
If elected as county executive, would you support county budget increases and consequential tax increases over the standard cost of living, and why?
We need to rein in the size of growth. That's what this is about. The county executive has continued to put everything in the kitchen sink in his budget, which has left it up to the council, 11 of us, to figure out and clean up the mess, quite frankly. And as county executive, I'm committed to creating a budget that is manageable and that fits within our economic expectations. And I'm going to give you an example. 2 years ago, on the Economic Development Committee, a committee that I created when I was council president, the Department of Permitting Services came to us and said they want to create 3 positions. We talked about it. 2 of those positions, I said, what are they for? We were told that they were to hire staff to help people navigate the permitting process because it's too complicated to go through the permitting process. I was the only member of that committee who voted against those 2 positions because I said, rather than hiring people to help people with the permitting, let's streamline the permitting process, and we don't need those positions.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. All right, our next question, we will start with Mr. Skolnick. The Germantown Master Plan previously called for over 60,000 jobs in Germantown, which did not come to fruition because the upcounty infrastructure needs have been ignored for decades. How would you reverse this result to grow an upcounty job center here?
I had the pleasure of coming here tonight by the Beltway and I-270. We need better transportation. If people are going to work here, they have to be able to get here in a reasonable period of time. I-270 has HOV 2 lanes, for example. To me, I proposed years ago TOV, tolls occur variable. Have the HOV lane be a variable toll lane so people who have to get here, like I had to get here, I had to leave early to get here tonight, can get here using a toll lane, and we get revenue to make improvements to our transportation system. So if you want 60,000 or 6,000, take a look at the roads that we have and the way that the transportation is so bogged down. It's almost impossible to add 60,000. Thank you.
Ms. Wells.
Yes, and so what I would do is ensure that we have the infrastructure first. One thing that we have noticed with Montgomery County is first we have the increased density, and then we think, oh, our schools are overcrowded. Oh, our roads are inadequate. Oh, it's right. And so then we're playing catch up always in trying to create the infrastructure that we need. So one thing I would do is ensure that we build the infrastructure first, ensure we have adequate schools, we have adequate seats, ensure we have the roads, whether it's widening the roads. I think M83 was a hot topic recently. Ensuring that we give the community what we've, 1, promised them, and then 2, ensuring that when we do increase the traffic flow, that everyone can be happy with the infrastructure that we have. So that's the one thing I think we are lacking. And then coupling that with ensuring maybe we have urban districts, or maybe we have taxing districts, but we need to be creative and we need to be thoughtful, we need to be engaging with the community to ensure that we're meeting the needs and that we're listening so that everyone can enjoy the community and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee.
Can you repeat the question, please?
I sure can.
Thank you.
The Germantown Master Plan previously called for over 60,000 jobs in Germantown, which did not come to fruition because the upcounty infrastructure needs have been ignored for decades. How would you reverse this result to grow an upcounty job center here?
Thank you very much for the question, and it's very important for all of you today. The problem is that the government is not listening. As I said, I wanted to have a meeting with county executive for 2-3 years. I didn't get a meeting. Now we are talking because we meet him so many events. I don't have to run for office as a county executive to talk to the county executive. So that is where we need to change. Under my leadership, once elected, I will make sure my administration, there are 7 districts, will go each district and meet the community leaders and business leaders like Ms. Paula Ross. So we will come over there and say what you need, because we are serving you, not what we need as a government. Because the government is of the people, for the people, by the people. That is lost today. And that is why whenever there is a planning happening, it's not fruition because they are not talking to the community leaders. So we need to have that once a month or more than a month meeting in 7 districts, and we don't have to call 311.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Mr. Friedson.
Well, first of all, we need a county executive that actually believes in growing jobs and a private sector economy. And we need to execute. This has been the primary failure, and this is the number one job of the county executive. The county executive's job is not to be a policymaker. The county executive's job is to execute. Ultimately, we have passed master plans, but we haven't executed the infrastructure in the master plans. Too often, businesses get vilified for the lack of things that turn out in a master plan. But in reality, it is the public sector's infrastructure. It is the public sector's benefits. It is the public sector's commitments that more often than not are not followed through on in a master plan. That's what we've seen throughout the county, and it's especially what has hurt the Upcounty with a lack of adequate infrastructure to support the growth that we want to see here. I've worked as close as anybody else with your council member, Marilyn Balcom. Will continue to do that, just like we did on the Clarksburg plan. That's what we'll do on the Germantown plan. We'll get it right when we take it up at the council, but most importantly, we'll actually execute and
Mr.
implement
Friedson.
it once we do.
Thank you, Mr. Friedson. Mr. Glass.
See, I knew the Germantown plan was coming up. I just got ahead of it in my previous comment. What we need is a county executive who's going to be a reliable, stable partner, who is going to work with our business community, ask them questions like, what do you need to succeed, and how can we help you? That is the basic of any government leader, and we don't have that right now. We have a do it my way or the highway, or actually we don't need that in Montgomery County. You could go elsewhere. They're somewhat synonymous. That needs to change. We need partnerships. We need people who want to work together. And ultimately, in order for any plan to move forward, you need all of the ingredients. You do need the infrastructure. You do need housing. Thankfully, what we have are the best and the brightest people. And employers want to move here because they want to hire us and they want to use our talent. We just have to put all those other ingredients in the cake, and I'm optimistic that we'll bake it well.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Yeah, you gotta go to Peter4moco.com. Look at the guideways. The City Council of San Jose has put in one, and they said they want to network the entire city. When they get done with that, they want to network the entire valley with these autonomous guideways. They're twice as fast as traveling by car. A bike path, 4 foot wide on 270, will carry 5 lanes of traffic that cost $100 million to build. These things are so that Professor Schoenfeld at UMD did a simulation. He actually did a computer simulation of BRT, what's called personal rapid transit, which are these guideways, van pools, and light rail for the Purple Line. The personal rapid transit guideways blew the others away tremendously. Like I said, you will be able to get pretty much anywhere from here in the county within 25 minutes. And these things come to your door like an Uber.
Thank you, Mr. James. All right, our next question, we will start with Ms. Wells. Businesses are increasingly concerned about juvenile crime trends in the Upcounty. What changes, if any, would you pursue in addressing crime, particularly among juveniles?
Yes, that's a great question. So what I would suggest is working with the state. It is unfortunate that we do not have rec centers in some of our greatest cities here in Montgomery County, in Upcounty. I'm a Montgomery Village resident, and that is one of our biggest asks, is that we need to have a rec center. We currently have the Lake Forest redevelopment that's happening. We've asked for a rec center there. I don't believe that's happening. When you're in Montgomery Village, you're unincorporated, so you don't really have access to like Borough Park. So I think one thing we need to do is ensure that our juveniles, like my children, I have an 8-year-old and a 13-year-old, and that is exactly the conversations we're having. It's out of school time. What can I do with him to be constructive time, as exercise, while also being in his community? And so I would ensure we have rec centers, we have spaces that are available for our children. Also, if we have repeat juvenile offenders, we do need to hold them accountable. We need to hold the parents accountable, right? So a lot of times we are providing welfare and safety net programs to these families for these children, and the parents are failing those children. So we need to ensure that we are having wraparound services while also having accountability for the families when these children commit repeated crimes.
Wells.
Thank you.
Mr. Banerjee.
It is very unfortunate. I have a son, very small though. So it really keeps me up in the night when I see not only upcountry but county, but in Mithun, few weeks back, 9 kids assaulted somebody, and still the investigation is ongoing, which is very unfortunate. So what we need to do, we need to have a wonderful school systems, not like the one which is now degrading and the students' enrollment going down. We need to encourage people to come back to school and also have them after school programs so that way they can get encouraged and go and study and focus on their life rather than thinking of doing something, because empty brain is devil's workshop. I learned that. I was born in India with a master's degree in electrical engineering, bachelor in electronics communication. Today I'm able to run for office in front of you. So that's the education background. We need to encourage people. Also encourage the local businesses to take those young students, train them so that they can have a future jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Friedson.
I also have a daughter who keeps me up at night, but for different reasons. She's about to be 13 weeks old. But I think a lot about her and the concerns that I have about the future of our community and the safety of our community. We had a threat of a school massacre by a 16-year-old that I was working with police and school officials to try to address. And after that student was found, another threat on the high school that his supposed friends were going to shoot up the high school. 20% of students went to high school, at Whitman High School as a result on Friday. That's true in that cluster this week. Unfortunately, it is true in other clusters in other weeks, and this is a huge challenge. We have to have an all hands on deck approach. It's got to be government, business, nonprofit, all working together. Marilyn Balcom with her back to school effort right here at BlackRock is a good example of this. But we need everybody involved. I would love to tell you about my grandfather's program that he had as a small business owner, teaching correctional facility, Lorton
Thank you,
Correctional
Mr.
Youth,
Friedson.
to learn how to be auto mechanics, but
Thank
that's
you,
the
Mr.
process and that's the
Friedson.
path forward.
Mr. Glass.
We just had a really good conversation at the council today talking about youth safety and school safety. I encourage you to watch it, really important. But I also want to add that before I got on the council, I was the executive director of a youth-serving nonprofit after-school program. It's where Paula and I first met many, many years ago. And when I became the executive director, there was one location in downtown Silver Spring. But I knew that the need was greater than that. And I expanded the program to more than 8 libraries throughout Montgomery County, also including Gaithersburg Library, Gaithersburg High School, and a number of other areas as well. We need more programs for more young people. That's really what this is about. It's giving them opportunity, giving them education. In some cases, it's even giving them jobs. And while kids are doing that, yes, we do need more community policing. Yes, we do need to do more work in our schools as well. There's no one solution here, but it is an all
Thank you,
hands on
Mr.
deck.
Glass. Mr. James.
Can you repeat the question for me?
I sure can. Businesses are increasingly concerned about juvenile crime trends in the Upcounty. What changes, if any, would you pursue in addressing crime, particularly among juveniles?
Well, I mentored hundreds of students from local schools, colleges, Montgomery College, and high schools around here. I had 2 daughters. Was a coach for pretty much any sport you can think of. And keeping them busy is important. But you guys must not have been listening to Elon Musk. We're not going to need jobs, and we're not going to need money. And we're going to have plenty of time to oversee our kids. So I'm going to build maker spaces. I'm going to build community robotic hydroponic systems. I put in 3 on my own dime into local high schools, Montgomery County. And we're going to, these guys are coming from a scarcity. I'm coming from prosperity. I'm going to make everyone rich and bring everybody up because I know how to generate that income. And that's what I experienced in Silicon Valley. I'm going to bring it here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James. Mr. Skolnick.
What we need are some positive activities for our youth. What I would encourage the county executive is athletic programs, which we already have, but expand it dramatically. You can have them in high schools. You can have them just organizations. You can have traveling teams. It's amazing what I've been learning about in one case soccer. But in any case, what I'm saying is there are lots of programs where the kids can have the experience of working on a team and the goal of getting a scholarship to college. We all know how expensive colleges are. Train the kids, let them go in different teams, and it'll be positive, and we'll get them away from activities that are not positive, such as crime, and away from their phones. There's a big research now going on about the social media impact on kids.
Thank you. All right, our next question. Given the MOE ratchet effect and stagnating Title I performance, would you support holding the MCPS budget at the legal minimum until a third-party forensic audit is conducted? If so, how would you defend that decision against union claims that it's an attack on educators? If not, what strategy will you employ to ensure the return on the taxpayers' investment to MCPS? We'll start with Mr. Banerjee.
So many things, that is good. Because we have 1 minute, I have to be very crisp and short. But this is a very major question. You know why? Because our county budget, almost more than 50% goes to MCPS. And that's where our tax increases comes. So there are a lot of problems with MCPS currently. There, as I said before, I repeat, the student enrollment going down, performance of the student going down. There has been so much corruption where battery bus contract was given illegally, not toted by me, by the state of Maryland. Also, principal was involved in sexual harassment, and then it was put on the rug and exposed and fired later when it came to media. And also very recently, there was another person taking pictures in the locker room of the women, ladies. So these are the things. Performance, you perform well, you get more funds. If you don't perform well, you don't get any money.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Mr. Friedson.
This is a huge question. We've added hundreds and hundreds of millions of more dollars to MCPS. There is no more indispensable public resource that we have in Montgomery County than our public school system. I'm a product of Montgomery County Public Schools. My mom was a public school teacher. I've been endorsed by the retired educators. But we can't continue to just provide a blank check to MCPS if we're not getting the results. That's why I have led efforts on increasing oversight, expanding the Office of Inspector General, which was one of my chief focuses in my first term. We expanded the Office of Inspector General. We increased the oversight opportunities to allow for the Office of Inspector General to look into MCPS. Every single issue that you've heard about over the last several years has been an Office of Inspector General report because of those efforts. When I was council president, we did add funding for the county executive's proposal, $26.3 million, but we added performance metrics for the first time ever. We need to demand accountability and performance, not just allowing for dollars every single year, whether the level is at maintenance of effort or whether the level is higher than that.
Thank you, Mr. Friedson.
The goal needs to be about outcomes, not about
Thank you,
funding.
Mr. Friedson. Mr. Glass.
The needs of our school system are real. There are 155,000 students in MCPS, and the needs continue to grow. And I am proud that during my 2 terms on the council, I have provided MCPS with the resources that they need, paying our teachers the best we can, making sure our children have their needs met, especially those with special needs, and making sure that our buildings are modern facilities as well. But at the same time, I've been providing the greatest level of what I consider tough love with our school system, holding them accountable, asking the very pointed questions as only a journalist can to make sure that their budget is more transparent. Last summer, I had a meeting with Governor Wes Moore, and I told him that as we expand and make progress on the blueprint for Maryland's future, they have to give us greater authority to do greater oversight. Right now, the school budget only needs to be written in 14 broad categories, and that is unacceptable for a $3.6 billion budget.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. Mr. James.
Yeah, I went to Springbrook High School back in graduated 73. We were the 10th highest school in the nation, and we dropped considerably since then. But I'm the only one up here that's actually performed forensic audits. big 8 accounting firms would come to us to help them do these audits because they're way too complex for humans to do it. As a matter of fact, if you go to my website and our business, we go beyond what is humanly possible. I've already lined up a CPA that's a forensic accounting firm in Bethesda. The biggest line item is in the capital budget in the school system. They're spending $1.23 billion on planning. We can plan the city the size of New York with $1.23 billion. I will reduce it down to that $30 million. I've done several smart CAD systems, and we can replace all the human efforts and all the pork that's in there.
Thank you. Mr. Skolnick.
The school system is subject to a law, the maintenance of effort law, which I consider an anti-efficiency law, but so be it. In his budget, the current county executive mentions that his budget for the schools exceeds the maintenance of effort requirement by $202 million. $202 million in excess of the maintenance of effort requirement. County executive, I would start as a baseline of staying at the maintenance of effort level. I would take out that $202 million.
Ms. Wells.
Yes, thank you, great question. And so I am the president of the Montgomery County Taxpayers League, and this is one of our signature events where each year we do an annual budget palooza of MCPS's operating budget, and we do a deep dive. And even this year, I hosted that event in February, and we have found multiple ways that MCPS can find savings in their budget, right? So as a homeowner, you wouldn't hire a plumber to fix an electrical problem, right? And so as a certified public accountant, where we are facing financial crisis, you need a CPA to be at the helm in order to fix the job. And so what I would do is implement, MCPS just implemented a new 5-year strategic plan. I would fund anything above MOE that is based on specific measurable goals. So MCPS will say for $10 million, I will improve the proficiency or the literacy rate for EML or Black and Brown kids or special needs kids by X% within this measurable period. They need to come specific and we will hold them accountable. Also, salary adjustments. Right now, MCPS, they make $106,000 per year for 10 months, which is higher than our Fairfax County school system, which is comparable to us. Also, I will include returning the education to, sorry, I will say more later.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. All right, we will start with Mr. Friedson with this question. Transportation is critical to our economic growth. How are you going to work with the Governor of Maryland to address the congestion on the upper I-270 corridor? Please be specific.
Yeah, I'll do what I have done previously. In the last council, I worked together with Hans Riemer when the county executive took an unprecedented action at the Transportation Planning Board. We worked together to broker a deal and a compromise that got significant commitments for Montgomery County, but didn't just serve as obstructionists to getting the type of investment that we wanted. To focus on getting additional transit investments and made sure that Montgomery County had a seat at the table in decision making. It had a number of other commitments as well, including protecting and preserving historic Black facilities that were at risk as part of the project. That's exactly what I'll do in the next term. I'll leverage the relationships as the only person who actually has worked in Annapolis, has significant relationships in Annapolis, who's been endorsed by all of the Upcounty senators and a majority of our state senators, including the transportation chair in the House. We're gonna need those relationships, working together with your district council member and with colleagues in order to work with the governor to figure out a path forward. Doing nothing is not an option because it's got you stuck.
Thank you, Mr. Friedson. Mr. Glass.
We need to fix 270 on the upper corridor, and we also need to fix the American Legion Bridge. I met with, had lunch, in fact, with former Maryland Secretary Paul Wiedefeld, Secretary of Transportation, about 2 years ago, and he laid out what Governor Moore's vision was. And they were starting to move forward, but then something happened, and it was the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. So while all the energy was going into the American Legion Bridge and to parts of 270, all of that changed. And so what's happening now is Governor Moore is very preoccupied with what's happening in Baltimore, understandably so. But there are conversations underway about 270, about the American Legion Bridge. We'll see what under his leadership is able to happen. But I duly recognize that we need transportation relief, and not only for 270, but also bus rapid transit and our own ride-on network. More people use ride-on in Upcounty than any other part of the county.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Yes, I've already been down to a briefing in Annapolis. McCrae likes the idea of these guideways, and actually during that briefing, he's the head of the subcommittee on environment and transportation. The president of the Senate attended that briefing. But we don't need the governor. If you go to my website, peter4moco.com, look at the pictures. A 4-foot wide bike path, which costs $500,000 a mile, will replace $100 million worth of 5 lanes of freeway as far as capacity. Putting these guideways on the American Legion Bridge will increase the capacity of the bridge tenfold. Now we're still going to need a couple lanes there through traffic, but I will solve that problem. The problem's already solved. This technology is off the shelf. It's just we got like who's the McCormick? Well, I'm out of time. But go to the website.
Thank you, Mr. James. Mr. Skolnick.
Why don't we do what's being done in Northern Virginia? They have toll roads on the Beltway, on I-66, I-95. And you have the option of taking the toll lane or the free lane, okay? I mentioned earlier, HOV2, I would change that to TOV, tolls occur variable. I would add a 3rd lane from Montgomery County into Frederick County. As you know, I-270 eventually goes down to 2 lanes from when you get closer to Frederick County. Many people come into Montgomery County from Frederick County to work. That's great. We want to encourage that. Let's improve the transportation system and use the tolls to pay for it. I mean, we have lots of ideas of improvement. Where is the money going to come from? Variable tolls on the existing roads would help.
Thank you, Ms. Wells.
Yes, and one of the things, or a few things I wrote down here is widening the roads for, I believe it's I-70 that gets us from Frederick to Montgomery County. We know a lot of residents cannot afford to live here, and so they have moved further out, and so ensuring that they have an easier commute. Also 270 as well. We know that a lot of jobs are in Virginia and DC. Currently, I live here in Gaithersburg and I work in downtown DC at the wharf, and I use the MARC train, or I would like to use the MARC train, but the last train comes before my son goes on the school bus. And so what I would strongly push for is 2-way MARC Brunswick line all day and including weekends. We need to have additional transportation. Also, we need to expand the red line. It stops at Shady Grove, which is my alternative if I missed my MARC train. We need to have Shady Grove go further up go further up in Germantown and further Damascus and Poolsville. And then we need to reintroduce the MOE. Previously, I was able to use the MARC train and the Metro if there was disruption between the two. That relationship stopped. We need to bring that back for commuters. And also, I would work to ensure that when we expand the road to public transportation, that it comes in under budget and it comes in on time. We cannot have a repeat of what happened with the Purple Line. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Banerjee.
So if you see red line, it was constructed so old manner, just going like a U shape. And see the metro expanding in Northern Virginia with silver line, so many lines, blue lines. But we are not getting enough lines here. So of course we need to expand the red line to further up to the border if possible, to close to Frederick, border of the Frederick County. So that is one thing what we can do. Another thing what we can do, create more public free bus services from the border and have public parking and incentivize people that park your car, go in a bus where you have a bus lane dedicated, so you don't have to stand in the traffic for half an hour. And also incentivize people to do carpool, bus pool, as well as van pool. I was in Microsoft, they used to incentivize people if you do carpool, van pool, special parking, as well as you can go a special route. So we need to think outside the box and implement them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates. That concludes our first round of questions. Audience, You were offered an index card when you arrived today to share questions for the candidates. If you have a completed index card, please raise it in the air and one of our board members will collect it. Now, you must include your name and where you live on your card to properly attribute the question. Now, to our second round of questions, I'd like to invite Sharon Anthony from Montgomery College. This round will include a number of yes/no questions. Candidates, you have a paddle in front of you to respond to each of these questions. Please raise your answer to the audience after each question. These questions were also prepared by our EDLA committee at the Chamber. Sharon.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get this started. So do you support the reinstatement of uniformed school resource officers to local high schools? Okay, thank you. Do you support funding MCPS above the maintenance of effort? I know, it's complicated. All right. Do you support increased accountability measures for MCPS spending, particularly for funds above MOE? Okay. Would you support engaging the State Board of Education to increase oversight of the MCPS budget and accountability? Okay, MCPS performance metrics, especially in Title I schools, continue to stagnate or decline. Would you support holding the budget at the legal minimum, no growth, until an independent forensic audit is conducted? Here's a fun one. If a local student asked for a selfie, would you know how to use their filters? I love it. The question was, if a local student asked you to take a selfie, would you be able to use their filters on their phone?
Maryland is the one who shows me how to do that stuff.
Okay. Do you support the proposed 2026-2027 countywide elementary boundary study that may lead to the permanent consolidation or closing of under-enrolled schools?
Don't know enough about the subject.
That's fine. Here's another one. The executive's current capital improvement plan recommendation is roughly $652 million lower than the Board of Education's request. If elected, will you fully fund the Board of Education's construction request, even if it requires a property tax increase? Okay. Now, here's a serious question. Have you ever binge watched a TV series in one weekend?
The whole miniseries?
Yes, the whole series. Okay, thanks. Good to know you. Do you support the expansion of the drone as a first responder program further into the Upcounty? Do you support the use of facial recognition technology by the Montgomery County Police Department for investigating violent crimes? I think the sideways thing. Okay, here's another one. Do you support providing retention incentives for experienced sworn officers to address staffing shortages? Yeah. Do you support providing retention incentives for experienced sworn officers to address staffing shortages in the police department? Okay. Are you a dog person? Okay, we're seeing some insights here. Okay, there were approximately 2,000 housing permits filed in the county for new projects in 2024, 2,000, and fewer than 50 in 2025. Do you support repealing the rent stabilization legislation, which has resulted in a nearly 100% drop in permits filed for rental housing construction?
The questions are too simplistic.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, we've actually, yeah. But it's interesting to see how you would vote. Okay, do you support allowing duplexes and triplexes to be built in neighborhoods currently zoned strictly for single-family homes? Do you support providing incentives for transit-oriented development near Metro or Purple Line stations? Okay. Do you support the 2026 requirement that landlords must provide a minimum of 2 weeks' notice before an eviction can proceed, even in cases of non-payment? 2 weeks.
2 weeks or 10 days?
2 weeks.
2 months.
Okay. We're just asking how you would feel about that. Okay, will you oppose property tax increases that use the school funding loophole to bypass the county charter's requirement for a unanimous council vote? I'll repeat that. Will you oppose it?
We oppose using.
Yes. Will you oppose using the loophole?
That's right.
Or keeping it
Will
complicated.
you oppose using double?
Thank you very much. Do you support the creation of special taxing districts for residents and businesses to fund infrastructure projects? Special taxing districts for residents and businesses to fund
Do you mean
infrastructure.
the current proposal or the general concept? Because there's
Do you
two.
support the creation of it? Like, would you
Well,
say yes?
there-
Yes, the concept. We recognize that some of these things are. Yes. All right, here's a tough question. Could you navigate from the north end of the county to the south end without using GPS? Some people aren't sure. Okay, thanks. Have you ever, this is a tough one actually, have you ever attended a local high school football game when you were not campaigning? Yes, playing in it would count. Okay. Do you support strict enforcement, including maximum fines, for violations of the gas-powered leaf blower ban? Do you support strict enforcement, including maximum fines, for violation of the gas-powered leaf blower ban?
Passed it.
Okay, here's another leaf blower. The gas-powered leaf blower ban last year has cost our small landscaping businesses thousands of dollars each in equipment and lost time. Some of our larger landscapers have had to reinvest tens of thousands of dollars in equipment and infrastructure. Do you support the legislation banning gas-powered leaf blowers?
Vote for it.
Do you support it?
Make one comment? I make,
We're not listening to comment.
I make
Nope.
man care robots, so I've replaced them for all.
Robots. Okay, this is related. Will you support capital projects that widen oh no, this is not related, I'm sorry. This is different. Will you support capital projects that widen roads or add new general purpose lanes for gas-powered vehicles? Yeah, sure. Will you support capital projects that widen roads or add new general purpose lanes for gas-powered vehicles? Okay.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Pineapple on.
This is a hard line.
That's a hard one. I see that's up really high.
Yeah, it only be good with the capsicum and pineapples, as well as spicy.
Sweet and spicy.
Are you are you a morning person? Ooh, interesting. Okay, this relates to M83. So the decision to remove M83, the long-planned and never-funded Eastern Arterial to I-270 and Great Seneca Highway's eastern counterpart from the Transportation Master Plan was detrimental to the growth and needs of our Clarksburg community. Do you support the removal of M83 from the Transit Master Plan? Permanently, do you conceptually? Yes, do you support it conceptually removing it? Interesting. Okay, great. Here's another question. Do you support the charter amendment that reduces the county executive's term limit from 3 terms down to 2? Conceptually, do you agree with that? Great. If the county council passes a bill you believe is fiscally irresponsible, are you prepared to use your veto power even if the council has a veto-proof majority? Will you commit to making all future collective bargaining negotiations with county unions open to the public? Interesting. Great. And do you make your bed every single morning? That's interesting. Basically. Sort of. Are you a hit the snooze button type of person? Are you a hit the snooze button kind of person? That's right, okay. Thank you, candidates, very much. This concludes the yes/no section of our questions. I know they were tough. We will now take questions from the audience. Okay, great, thank you. Our board volunteers have collected the questions from the audience and categorized them in hopes that we address as many topics as possible during this round of questions.
Okay, these are from the audience. I'm sorry there are no more questions about pizza. I don't think we're disappointed about that. Our first question is from Shah, who's a resident of Gaithersburg. No single candidate can succeed on his or her own. What are you going to do to convince your colleagues to vote for your proposals?
We're going to start with Mr. Banerjee.
Thank you very much. So 7 of us are running, and I'm not counting anyone's of them to vote for me because they're going to vote for themselves first. So, but what I can say is that people who are supporting one and each of our candidates, please don't go for name recognition, go for the substance, what candidates are presenting in front of you. So I'm the only candidate I have presented 23 bullet points after talking to all voters and residents, getting their feedback. I have failed to see other candidates has been categorized so many items in their platform. And because of me, Mr. Giovando has taken a 180 degree of tax increase, and that's why property tax has gone down. Because last year, 2025, he and Mark Ellery said tax increase. So I criticized them, and that is my success for running. Thank you.
Mr. Friedson.
Well, I'd like to think I had something to do with people changing their mind on not raising taxes based on my consistent 8 years in office. But ultimately, I'm proud of the fact that I have worked with every single colleague, and I value my relationships with colleagues and my ability to tackle some of the most difficult issues. There's nothing more difficult in local government than housing. I chair the housing committee, I oversee master plans, and each and every time I've taken up these emotional and very difficult issues that involve residents and businesses and deeply, deeply personal issues, I've been able to bring people together and to get to a good outcome. I've worked with Evan, I've worked with Will, I've worked with every single colleague. I've worked with Marilyn Balcom and with Dawn Lukey in the Upcounty. I have literally worked with everybody across the board. That's what I would do as county executive. And it's not just about who can work with county council members. It's also going to be about who has relationships at the state level to address some of those challenges. There's nobody who has the relationships and the background at the state level either. There's nobody better positioned based on track record to actually deliver results by bringing people together.
I actually think this is a really, really important question because Montgomery County is a divided county. The Democratic Party, of which I'm running in the primary, is a divided party. We have a county executive who has won by 32 votes last election and won by 77 votes in the election before. Whoever becomes county executive has to work with a very diverse council. I'm proud to have introduced legislation with all of my colleagues, and when I'm county executive, I'm going to be able to work with everyone. Having absolute positions does not allow for the flexibility of governing, especially in a county and a council that is going to be extremely diverse. On this council, we have former Chamber of Commerce leaders and DSA leaders. That is diversity. It requires someone who can actually talk with everybody. I am the candidate in this race who might not agree with everyone all the time, but I can talk with people to get things done.
Well, I'm going to challenge that premise. One of the reasons I'm running is to do this transportation system. There was a appeals court case on the bridge that went over to Democracy Mall, and the court says that the county executive has sole authority. So you can judge a man by his fruits. So the first thing is I'm going to do a couple of things that probably none of the council would approve of, and show them how great now everybody's got an extra hour out of the day that they used to be sitting in cars. So a few of those, and then I get people to come around to me. But I'm the guy, I've never had to market myself. We'd always got, like 20th Century Fox wanted a video game for the Fall Guy. But everybody knew that I was able to affect people's brain waves and their brain responses. So I got a call on the phone. I got a call on the phone from University of Maryland to do this smart crosswalk study.
Thank you. Mr. Skolnick.
I consider myself a moderate Republican. Now, if I should win county executive in liberal, democratic Montgomery County, that would mean that the people of Montgomery County like my creative solutions, practical, affordable solutions. So in the future as county executive, I will continue to offer practical, moderate, effective solutions that the public supports. And in that way, I would expect the county council to recognize that the public is supporting these type of actions that I am proposing as county executive. So I think that it'll be fairly easy to work with the county council to encourage them to adopt new creative solutions to our old problems.
Thank you. And so I currently, again, in my position as president of the Montgomery County Taxpayers League, I have worked with some of the council members as their chair position. And one thing that I am great with, even professionally over the last 15 years career, is building consensus and working with diverse voices to ultimately arrive at the best solution. And so diversity of thought is really important to me to shore up our blind spots and ensure that we're arriving at the best answer. And so also community input. I would work with the executive advisory board to be in the community, to solicit new ideas and understand if there are any unmet needs. I would consistently monitor any safety net programs that we currently have in place to ensure that they're working. I will work with the chambers to ensure that they have what they need and they can give me the intel as to what the market is saying. Work with MCEDC, we have a new president, ensure that we're adequately funding them so they can go out and do the work that we have asked them to do. And then lastly, I will develop a track record of winning, right? No, everyone will be behind you once you show that you're a leader and you're able to win. Build that trust and have that record of winning. Thank you.
Okay, our next question is from Heather in Damascus. Given the limits of Maryland's juvenile justice system, would you support local measures like curfews or parent-guardian escort policy, similar to Baltimore and Prince George's County, to improve accountability? If not, what would you do instead?
We're going to start with Mr. Friedson.
Hi, Heather, from Damascus. It's good to see you. We have had some real challenges in state policy changes related to juvenile justice and some of those issues. Some of that are being addressed and were addressed this past session. I think there's more work to do on that front. I think we should work with Senator Will Smith and some of our colleagues on those issues to try to address it, because I think sometimes the pendulum swings too far in either direction, and I've been somebody who doesn't believe in the huge pendulum swings one way or another and reacting in a way that sometimes doesn't serve our needs. Ultimately, we should address things at the local level if our issues at the state level are not being addressed. It is very challenging to actually implement some of those strategies and for them to actually work. And I will tell you, we saw this just this past week. I mentioned the 16-year-old and the relationship with the Department of Juvenile Services. They're in charge up to the point at which there is police action that takes place, and that creates some real challenges. So it's going to require leadership, it's going to require partnership, and I'm looking forward to doing it.
Mr. Glass.
I'm going to be additive to what Andrew said, because there was legislation that was just passed this session, led by State Senator Will Smith, and so I think we need to work through that, see how that goes. But I know I referenced earlier a conversation we had at the council earlier today with MCPS, with HHS, and with MCPD. All of them were at the table because this is collective work. We need all of our stakeholders, and there was even suggestions that more people should have been invited. The next county executive has to understand the tapestry of local government, how it all works, who to bring in, who to provide additional resources to. We have an $8 billion budget proposal at the council. We need someone who knows what the landscape is, ask the right questions, task the right people, and then perhaps talk to our state lawmakers if we need their assistance. But this has to get done. We have to make sure our kids are safe.
Thank you. Mr. James.
Well, I think this is a much more complex issue than the question reflects. I had a mom in our early childhood who worked 3 jobs to support us, a single mom. We were free-range kids. We'd go and take a hike down from Rosemary Hills down to the zoo and come out of the water with leeches all over us, but we were good kids. And it's the environment, some of these kids, when you have children raising children. There's a lot of issues. One big solution for that is prosperity for all. If you're not led to a life of crime because you're desperate, there's a lot of things we can do. But certainly, I don't know what the law is in Maryland, but I believe the parent is responsible for the actions of their kids, and we have to hold the parents accountable. But we have to supply an environment. I would push for Montessori schools. They're doing a pilot in Fairfax, and they teach peace as part of the curriculum.
Mr. Skolnick.
In the news today, they were talking about curfews in Washington, D.C., local curfews. In general, I'm against that idea. I would rather have a very positive offering of activities, even in the evening or weekends for the young people, recreational, athletic, employment activities. So I would push more for expanding the opportunities for our young people at various hours of the day as compared to seeking curfews.
Yes, and for juvenile system, so I do not agree. I agree with Mr. Skolnick. I don't agree with broad curfews. I was a teenager, growing up as a latchkey kid. My parents, they worked 2-3 jobs, and so I started working when I was age 14. When I was age 16, I had my provisional license, and I worked a lot of hours, again, to help my family out financially. And one of the things I did run into was with a provisional license, you could only be out until 12 o'clock. And I worked late that night, and I was stopped by the police, and I had to explain that, I was coming from work, and thankfully he let me off with a warning. But the reason why I was out there was to help support my family. And so I don't agree that having curfews, all juveniles aren't out there doing that. So I don't agree with painting with a broad brush. Also, I will ensure that accountability is needed, right? So we have signed, as taxpayers, we have signed a social contract to say, we are going to offer free housing, free healthcare, free food, guaranteed income, local earned income tax credits. We're giving all of this money to these families with children that are juveniles, and they're abandoning the children. They need to do their part because we have done our part. Thank you.
So what works in Baltimore may not work in Montgomery County, and what works in DC may not work in Montgomery County. So that's why under my administration, once elected, I said very clearly that my team will go each 7 districts, talk to the leaders and community leaders as well as faith leaders and everybody, ask them what are their problems. If they have a problem like Baltimore issues where curfew is needed, it should be on the table, but it should not be implemented. The necessity, you go to a doctor, it depends on what you have. If you have a running nose or you have a fever, based on that you get a medicine. You don't give a curfew medicine to everybody. But if there is a crime, there has to be, like for example, 9 kids assaulted in Wheaton. Is that a good thing? Absolutely not. So those are the things we need to see. And also we need to remove the judicial corruption when this juvenile people of color goes to the court, they get 40% more arrested by the police as well as sentenced longer sentences. Thank you.
600%.
No more comments.
Okay, our next question is from Joe in Gaithersburg. What are your 2 or 3 top goals to support the county that is innovative and different from what county government has done in the past?
We're going to start with Mr. Glass.
Thank you, Joe from Gaithersburg. So what are we going to do with regards to the future of Montgomery County? Well, We gotta get Montgomery County to adopt more technology in terms of county government to help start streamlining and making it easier. And I think there's a lot of technology also that we're looking at here, not only within the Department of Transportation, some of which Peter, it might be adopted, I'm not quite sure, but there's also things that I've been talking with our school system about the way that we help innovate and educate. You know, all of this actually takes money. And it's about using our resources wisely, whether or not we as a community invest in some of these new technologies to make it easier to live here, to make it better to do business here. But the reality is things are moving so quickly that we just have to be wise with those investments. There are a lot of things that we still have technologically that are outdated, like some of our software.
Absolutely everything. I'm going to fix the transportation system. All of you are going to have an extra hour a day. I'm going to do it. I can do it. I proposed to the school system, I had 15 interns out at Needwood Golf Course with our robotic mowers and AI to get rid of pesticides. The kids are going to have playable natural grass that's thick, because the more you mow, the better the turf comes up. And those platforms will be learning platforms. So the kids could put biology, robotic projects on it. I'm going to do a 3D digital twin. Look on my website. Basically, I'm going to render the entire county. This is what NASA does when they put, $50 billion projects up into space. They need to simulate them. So I'm going to get rid of the park and planning, and each citizen will be the urban planners collectively for your communities. So I'm going to bring so much technologies, I'm going to bring that $8 billion down to $2 billion. Thank you.
I am proposing free tuition at Montgomery College for students who volunteer, provide services to the county government or the county schools. There'll be a huge savings. It'll help them develop their careers. They'll look at different choices. They'll have mentors. They'll have role models. That's one creative solution that we should do right away. Another one is regarding what I call, and I offered this before, pre-K and post-K for students. Pre-K would be the summer before they go into kindergarten. Post-K would be the summer after kindergarten. They would go the pre-K, the post-K. We have empty schools at that point in time. We don't have to create more classrooms. We have teachers who are off during the summer who could do the work. So the idea would be, again, it's affordable and it would be achievable.
Yeah, so three things that comes top of mind is permitting. One of the issues that we continue to hear from businesses is it takes too long to permit. Usually they have to sign contracts for months, years at a time, and permitting takes too long for them to open. And so what I would do if I wanted to incentivize certain developers to create certain type of housing, whether it's multiplex or duplex, triplex, quadplex, or townhouses, I will have a pre-approved list specs that they can use, and if they agree to stay within these specs, then their permit will be approved in hours or a few days. They wouldn't have to wait the years that they would have to. Secondly, I would say I would create synergies. Right now, MCPS is a microcosm of the county, and so there are redundancies there where MCPS has its own Department of Transportation and so does the county. And we saw recently with the snowstorm, they both did this and they didn't have accountability, and our schools were closed for 6 days. So I would strip MCPS to be an education institution, remove the redundancies of transportation of HHS, have that in the county level, and save on administrative costs. And then thirdly, automation of services like 311, and also go paperless. I've heard in meetings that there are stacks of paper on people's desks. Go paperless.
So what you need is, you need somebody from private sector, not government anymore, because we can run the county like the private sector, so that people who get fired doesn't get a golden parachute. And also, you do planning first before implementation, not implement then plan, like gas blower. They implemented it and said, no, you cannot take picture now, oh my gosh. Waste of money, waste of time. Also, I want to create a university in Montgomery County. We are one of the richest county in Maryland as well as in the United States. We don't have any university, medical school, engineering school, also business school, dental school, as well as arts. So that we have a create economic zone. A lot of businesses will come. That's how I create more revenue and expand the tax base. And also new economic zone. And what we need to do, free tuition for Montgomery College. Also, in my administration, we should have an open mic for public hearing and public comments. You don't have to register first, then you can talk, because your constitutional rights is petition to the government. I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
Well, shout out to University of Shady Grove. Thank you for being a place of higher learning with right here in Montgomery County. A few things, and there's lots that we need to do. First of all, we need to be focused relentlessly on growing the private sector economy, viewing businesses and valuing them, not vilifying them, and leveraging our assets in the business community to deliver on the things that really matter, like childcare. We can do that with the right leadership. We will. We need to be focused in the county government, in the education system, with public safety on outcomes and not just on activism, which has been a challenge that we have had for many, many years. And most importantly, for the people in this room, you're gonna have a county executive who actually cares about the Upcounty, who is gonna be here all the time, who is gonna be listening to your needs and responding to what you need. That's what I've done when I've been on the county council, when I have officially represented the Upcounty, and even in the last 4 years when I haven't, because I care deeply about this community, and you need a county executive who does.
Okay, our next question is from Leslie in North Potomac, and it is short and sweet. Where do you stand on data centers in Montgomery County?
No, this is where the AI beast is going to live. If you had a nuclear bomb in the county, a hydrogen bomb that was going to wipe us all out, and there was a 20 to 30% chance that it would go off accidentally, would you ban it? As a public safety officer of the county, I would not let any data centers in our county. More than that, I would go out and work with anti-data center companies around the surrounding area, because that's what's bringing our electric rates up so high, and get them to shut down the data centers. If we wait long enough, most of the data centers will be empty. We're going through an economic collapse like we've never lived through before, partially because of the overbuilt data centers. There's not enough revenue from them to service the debt, and then we've got a commercial debt market that's all going to collapse. So I would recommend you guys get out of equities and into inflation-protected treasuries.
I'm against data centers in Montgomery County. I assume we all are. The issue is, though, that they use a tremendous amount of electricity, and the electric grid in the United States is very outdated. So I proposed, I think it was the other night when we had a question similar to this raised, and I said, let's put the data centers in Calvert County, not Montgomery County, by the Calvert Cliffs nuclear reactors. Then you don't have to worry about the electric grid problem. In other words, you station the data centers close to the power sources. So that's what I would suggest for Montgomery County, for Maryland, and also for the nation.
Yes, and so to be additive, again, we've had this question, and essentially for data centers, I believe it's important that they do have their own on-site generation of energy. However, I believe I'm the only candidate that is open to energy choice. We need to have an all-of-the-above approach to the energy that the data center uses. I work in the energy space right now, and so I do understand the needs of the infrastructure, and so ensuring that we do not increase even further the cost of your utilities. Also, location is important. My son, who is 13, he has autism and ADHD, and he has sensory needs. So ensuring that we do not locate any data centers should they come here near our children's school, because that will impact their ability to learn and definitely impact our most vulnerable population of students like my son. And then also, I think it's important that we work with our state partners to revisit Maryland having increased their energy generation. Currently, we import a lot of our energy from other states, and so it's even more important now to have energy stability that we generate our own energy. Thank you.
I have a master's in electrical, bachelor electronics communication, so as an engineer, I cannot oppose to a technological growth, but we have to have safety checks, environmental safety checks on data centers. It is going to happen. Maybe it's been postponed for some time because of the election, but the more money will flow, it's gonna happen. That is the truth. You like it or not. But what we need to create is that we need to create a plan so that this data center will come there, pay more taxes, compensate so that we don't have to pay more for funding MCPAs and other budgets. Number one. Number two, bring clean energy, wind power, solar power, so that you don't touch the Potomac water. No way. Number three, make sure that whatever you are doing, bring more revenue so that our county doesn't have to worry about next 10 years increasing taxes on normal people or residents. That will be funded by their money. Thank you.
Well, thank you to my friend Leslie from North Potomac. I have called for bring your own new clean energy. I came out strongly on that issue. Now that is being moved forward at the county council. I'm working together with Marilyn Balcom and colleagues Natalie Fountain-Gonzalez and Lorianne Sales, who have agreed to that part of what I have called for, and they are working on a number of amendments to regulate data centers as they move forward in Montgomery County to make sure that we're doing it the right way here, to address significant environmental concerns that we have. My priority has always been on your energy bills, and on my energy bills, we shouldn't be paying higher energy bills so that data centers can operate. That's not fair, that's not right, that's hurting us. And then we should address the other issues that we face in terms of the local environmental and broader environmental issues. But there is a technological revolution that's happening. We don't like what is happening in other jurisdictions across the river. We can do it the right way here. And there are businesses that have proven that this can be done, and we should make sure that it gets done right in Montgomery County.
Thank you, Leslie. So we do not want to become Loudoun County and Northern Virginia. And it's why I introduced legislation earlier this year to create a data center task force so that we here in Montgomery County can chart our own future. Frederick County had their own, Prince George's had their own. We got the best and the brightest to figure out what we want, if we want it here. There were no co-sponsors on that legislation, and it did not make its way out of committee. And so we do need to hit a pause because we do have to get this right. Just last week, the River Keepers said the Potomac River is the most threatened river in America because of the potential of data centers that are coming. And that includes the data center in Dickerson. This is a problem. Our energy bills are already increasing because of data centers on the grid in Northern Virginia and in Ohio, and any that we add here will only make it worse.
Okay, this is our last question from the audience. It is from Jason in Germantown, and it's revisiting the question about employers in Upcounty. Upcounty residents are facing longer commutes and fewer high-paying jobs in our community. How will you specifically attract new employers to the Upcounty, Germantown, and Northwood?
We're going to start with Mr. Skolnick on this question.
I guess I'll repeat what I spoke about before. And that is, if you want new employers hiring new employees, we have to address the traffic problem, okay? And it's not just Montgomery County, it's the whole region. We are like either the worst or second worst traffic congested metropolitan area in the country. And just take a look at Metro, how underutilized Metro is. I've offered, suggested in the past, for example, bus rider buildings at Metro stations so that people don't just stand outside waiting for a bus in the bad weather. I mean, it's absurd to think that someone commuting from, say, Frederick, Maryland to a job in Montgomery County will take a commuter bus, come down here, get on the Metro, and then on the way home, go to the Shady Grove station and stand outside waiting for a commuter bus. We need what I call bus rider buildings at all our Metro stations.
Yes, and thank you, Jason, for the question. And to expand on my prior response, again, I am a Gaithersburg resident, and so decisions I make, I will have to live with. And so some of the ideas would be, again, we need to lower taxes. We need to ensure that when employers are looking for places to locate their headquarters and their warehouses, that we are competitive as compared to Northern Virginia, which right now we are not. Our taxes cumulatively are too high. For example, our Montgomery County fuel energy tax right now for businesses is 17%. Plus, they pay sales tax, which is another 6%. So businesses on their utility bills is at 23% just in taxes. Then there are additional hidden fees and taxes for state and federal level. Again, in my current role, I am the one that prepares all of your bills, the taxes on there. And so I know very intimately how much this tax is a burden. And so I will ensure that we reduce all of the barriers for businesses coming here, which includes lower taxes. Again, two-way mark. We need to ensure that we have all-day transportation for the MARC train, and we need to have weekend ride-on bus services, which right now that's a basic need we don't have. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Just close your eyes and take yourself in University of Maryland College Park. And now open your eyes. That's exactly I want to do it in Montgomery County. There is all businesses surrounding. There is a business incubator, and I know the director with whom I did a conference, international conference 2014, where I was the conference, one of the youngest conference chair in the world, with the international conference done with IEEE, PMI, and ISSA. So that is what we need to create here. We need to create research, we need to create good hospital, dental, because the average voters in Montgomery County gonna be 60 years. We need to give them affordable health care. And also, our students doesn't have to go some college park or other states to study. They can study here, and we can create jobs here and growth here. That's how we create economic growth. Thank you.
Well, if you want to know what we'll do, look at what we've done, and we can build on that. First example is the Clarksburg plan that we just approved. I pushed hard, working together with Marilyn Balcom, and we got Clarksburg and the old ComSat site to be treated as a strategic economic development opportunity for the county, treated similarly to how White Flint and White Oak are treated, so that there's actually an emphasis and an effort that is undertaken in order to do that. We have an opportunity to fulfill that. ComSat used to be one of the largest employers in Montgomery County. We have an opportunity to make sure that that plan delivers one of the largest employers in Montgomery County again. We need to be partnering with our business community and having a county executive who's going to fulfill that, to say, I'll say it again, making it easier, cheaper, and faster to invest in Montgomery County, and that includes the Upcounty. One of the ways to address transportation congestion is to create more jobs close to where people live. The reason why there's so much traffic congestion here is that there are a lot of people who live here, and there aren't enough jobs here, and we can deliver that by working together.
So one of the ways that we create more jobs in this area, quite frankly, is by listening to what business owners and entrepreneurs tell us they want. What they say is that we have the best and the brightest people. They love our schools, they love our parks. What the problem is, I'm told, is it's really expensive for their workforce to live here. And so yeah, we do need to have more housing that is more affordable. We need to provide more housing for our kids and our grandkids to be able to move here. And what is important up here is also what I tell is important down in Chevy Chase and Silver Spring when they say we don't want any growth down there. What I tell them is, if you don't have any growth down here, but the jobs are down there, you're still gonna have people who are coming down 270, who are coming down Connecticut Avenue, who are coming down Route 29, and then residents down there don't want any of the highway or road changes. It is an unvirtuous cycle. So we have to put more jobs up here and more housing, and we'll get it.
Wow. I'm the little boy that tells the emperor he has no clothes. In 2008, I talked to a bunch of room-filled forums about the coming collapse. Watch The Big Short. Nobody wanted to believe it. We're going through a paradigm shift humanity has never experienced. We have AI, and it's not just the chatbots you're working with, but each one of these 7 Magnificent Seven, their mission statement is to get their AI to do everything a human can do, and they're going to be doing it for $1 an hour. There are not going to be any jobs. You have to go to my website and see what my solution is. I want to make you, the public and the workers, the owners of the technology. And so that it won't matter if you don't have a job anymore, because you're going to reap the benefits of the technology. That's the only way we can prevent food riots.
Thank you. Okay, so that was our last question, and this concludes all of the questions in this forum. Thank you, Dave, for organizing those questions from our audience. We do not have time to get to several questions, so I do encourage all of our audience members to stay and mingle with our candidates afterward to ask questions about nonprofits providing essential services. The eventual prohibition of the replacement of natural gas furnaces, the plan for filling potholes and expediting road repairs, and discussions for metal detectors in schools. All very good questions that our community needs to address, but that we don't have time for in the allotted time tonight. Now our candidates will have 60 seconds to provide a closing remark. We will start, where did we leave off? With Ms. Wells. Thank you.
So thank you so much, everyone, for coming out this evening, and thank you so much to the Gaithersburg Germantown Upcounty Chamber for inviting me to be here this evening. I really appreciate it. I am a lifelong resident of Montgomery County. When my family moved to the United States in 1995, we moved right here into Montgomery Village, and I've been here ever since. I'm raising my family here as a single mom of 2 boys, 8 and 13. There's nowhere else I could think of than here. I went to University of Maryland. I went to MCPS schools, and so I am a lifelong resident. The reason why I am running is because I'm running to solve a problem. As a middle-class resident, it has become too unaffordable to live here. I am a homeowner, and as a taxpayer, again, the president of the Taxpayers League, I wanted to be part of the solution and continue the work that I have done over the last 4 years. And so I encourage you to go to my website, voteforesther.com, or reach out to me at voteforesther@gmail.com. But essentially, my plan is affordability and accountability. I'm here to drive results. I'm a trusted leader, and I'm here to listen to you and your needs. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. Mr. Banerjee.
Thank you, host. Thank you for inviting us. I appreciate the opportunity. And let me tell you, I am tired of these tax increases. We cannot afford it. It's no longer affordable. We need to make this more affordable. And that's the reason I said enough is enough. Gas prices going up, utility bills are going high, property tax was going high. Even though tax doesn't increase, but assessment value is going high. We cannot afford this. That's why I said, let's fix it. So ask yourself, are you better off today than 7-8 years back before my colleagues been in the government? If not, you need to change, because insanity means do the same thing, expect different result. It doesn't happen. So vote for me, go to mithunbanerjee.com, otherwise pay more taxes. And also, what I will provide is free universal childcare, free universal pre-K by taxing the millionaires, stop illegal deportation without due process, and no more tax.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Mr. Friedson.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Steve. Thank you to everybody for being here tonight. It has been a pleasure. I'm asking for your support and for your vote, and I am asking to continue the partnership that we've been able to build over the last 8 years. You have not had a more consistent partner in the business community or in the Upcounty than I have been on the county council, and we could build on that if I get elected county executive with your support, which won't happen without your support. I'm proud of the fact that I'm the only person running who has support and endorsements from business organizations. I have been vilified for my relationship with the business community because of my repeated advocacy for the business community. But if we are going to solve the problems that we have in Montgomery County, we need the business community to be part of the solutions. So I hope that we can work together. I'm proud to have endorsements from Senator Feldman and Delegate Lily Chi, who represent this area, as well as Senator Zucker and Senator King that represent the Upcounty, to have the broadest coalition of businesses and labor coming together. That's what we're going to need to get things done over the next 4 or 8 years.
Mr. Glass.
Thank you to the Chamber and thank you BlackRock for hosting us. You know, we've talked about business, we've talked about housing, we've talked about transportation. I want to talk about the people. I want to talk about Germantown being the most diverse place in America. We should be proud of that. I'm proud of that, and as your next county executive, I am going to continue making sure that we do everything we have to improve the quality of life here with the resources that we're capable of. And at the same time, we're going to keep pushing back against Donald Trump and against ICE and against these influences that are trying to change who we are here in the most diverse place in America. I've been standing up and fighting for you ever since I got elected. I've passed laws on pay equity. I've helped make our buses free. There's a lot more that we have to do. We have to do it together. I've been fighting for you. You're worth fighting for. Montgomery County will be and remains a great place to live.
Thank you. Mr. James.
When I was 24, Nolan Bushnell went out and got an executive recruiter. He said, go find me a wizard. I'm the guy that they brought to him. And my job, he had sold Atari. He's invented the Pong game, but he had the Catalyst Group, which is a bunch of high-tech startups. Nolan mentored Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs worked for Nolan before he started Apple. And my job, there was a book out at the time called Whack on the Side of the Head by Roger Von Ock. And what it talked about is a Zen master would go behind his students, and they still do it to today, and he'd whack them on the side of the head. Now, if I haven't scared the piss out of all you guys, I haven't whacked you hard enough. The paradigm, the next 4 years are going to be nothing like the past. And you have to go to my website. We've got billionaire AI guys saying they screwed up. The guy that did the stable diffusion that makes images.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Take care.
Mr. Skolnick.
I don't know the makeup of your chamber, but I assume it has a lot of small businesses and retail, restaurants, etc. What I propose, that I've seen down county where I live, I propose bringing back free parking on Saturdays at the public parking garages and ending paid meters, parking meters, at 6 p.m. in the evening. In other words, I want to encourage people to come into the areas where now they have to pay for parking, reduce the parking. We have some advocates of giving free bus services. How about giving a free benefit to the car drivers in our county?
Ms. Wells.
Oh,
she started.
She started.
Thank you. Thank you for being honest. So this concludes tonight's forum. I would like to thank our candidates for joining us this evening. The Chamber encourages everyone in the Upcounty to get out and vote during the primary election on June 23rd. Early voting begins June 11th. I'd like to thank the BlackRock team. Lucian, thank you back there. You can stop the recording now. Thank you so much. And please get home safely, everyone. Thank you.